Another emotional weep fest from Pixar with their new film Luca, available now on Disney Plus. But why is it not quite up to the standards of the usual Pixar fare? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Pixar film Luca, available right now on Disney Plus for free. Unlike a lot of the recent Disney output, Raya and the Last Dragon, Cruella, and upcoming Black Widow, this is not the one that you have to pay $30 for their premiere access on Disney Plus. If you are a Disney Plus subscriber, you get this movie for free. I'm not quite sure why they're doing that with only the Pixar movies, because Soul was free as well. That was their previous film. But whatever, we won't question it, right? We'll just watch it for free and enjoy it, we hope. Before we get into the specifics of this film, I do want to welcome you to Dan Reviews It. If you've just kind of stumbled upon this video, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you aboard. Please consider hitting that subscribe button down below, hitting the like button as well, and of course commenting about how you thought of this film, Luca. That all helps my channel, and I do appreciate it. So let's get right into this movie. So like I said, this one isn't quite up to the standards, I think, of the typical Pixar fare. I think for the last 25 years now, they've sort of been the gold standard of the animated family film, from, you know, the Toy Story movies to Inside Out to Finding Nemo. You know, they've had a lot of A-pluses in my book. This one does not quite live up to that, and we'll talk about why in a moment. First, though, let's dive into what this movie's about. Now, this is not your typical star-studded voice cast that Pixar, and really, I mean, I feel like Pixar almost started it with the Toy Story franchise, but, you know, other studios have certainly adopted that lately. You've got, you know, Alec Baldwin doing The Boss Baby, and Steve Carell doing Gru. But here, I think the highest profile names are going to be Luca's parents, voiced by Maya Rudolph and Jim Gaffigan. Luca himself is voiced by Jacob Tremblay, who you might know from Room or Good Boys. He's, you know, still really a kid actor, and he's probably 14 or something now, maybe 15. And then his buddy, Alberto, is voiced by Jack Dylan Grazer, who you might know from the It films. He was one of the young boys in there. And then this was directed by first-time feature director Enrico Casarosa. Now, he is Oscar nominated for a short that he did with Pixar back before Brave. When you went to see Brave in theaters, you saw La Luna before that. He directed that and got nominated for a short. But this is his first foray into feature film directing, and I would say he is still getting his sea legs. And that's a little bit of a pun on what we're talking about with this film, because the plot basically is Luca and his family are what's known as sea monsters. To us, they're sort of like, you know, mermaid creatures or whatever, but I guess mermaids are, though, only with the tail, right? And then they're human from the waist up. So maybe not, but they're sea creatures anyway, known as sea monsters to the townspeople. But Luca happens to meet Alberto sort of on an offhanded, you know, he thinks he's a hunter of sea monsters, but turns out he's just this boy. So he realizes once he's off land, oh my gosh, I can take a human form off land, and I have legs, and I can, you know, look like a human, and you know, hopefully act like a human. So he gets back down to the sea, and his parents forbid him from doing that ever again, letting him know how scary it is, this, that, and the other thing. But he is just he has fallen in love with being up above ground. He's fallen in love with this town that they're in, and they meet this girl as well, voiced by newcomer Emma Berman, and she plays Giola, and she is, you know, the sort of outcast like them. You know, she calls them underdogs. She is in this annual race where they have to go swimming and then eat a big Italian dish and then go for a bike ride. And in years past, she's been puking because of that. So she decides that maybe the three of them teaming up together could be a good team. Of course, they can't go back in the water because whenever they get wet, their true sea monster form is revealed. So that runs into some problems for them along the way. And of course, there's a bully. There always has to be a bully. And so we see that as well. Saviero Ramondo, newcomer as well, voices him. And he's the big winner of the race every year, and so he's just this jerky kid. All right, now all the while, her father is a sea monster hunter, so that makes things tricky as well. So all right, so that's the basic premise, and we move along here with a lot of familiar beats through this. I think familiar is a very good way to describe this film because I'm not sure how much new it really does bring to the table. I mean, the themes of, being an outcast, I mean, that's present in a lot of Pixar movies and kids' movies, I guess, in general. Most of them are done, very well by Pixar, but here we have a pretty basic story at the end of the day. I mean, yes, they're sea creatures that are trying to be human. That might sound familiar to fans of The Little Mermaid or Splash or many other movies, in the last 30, 40 years. So, all right. And even some of the looks of the characters I found to be reminiscent of other things. For example, the girl's father, he is a fisherman and a sea monster hunter, and he has very little eyes because his eyebrows are perched there, and he doesn't really have a mouth because his big old mustache covers it up. It reminded me completely of the father in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which isn't even a Pixar movie. I believe that is from Columbia Pictures, maybe. But whatever. So, and that dude in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs was, he sold bait. He had a tackle shop. So it's like sort of still with that fisherman type theme. So hated that. That took me right out every time. But also because humans are sort of the focus of this film, I'm still of the belief that CGI has not quite perfected in films yet the look of humans. Obviously, it's a lot better than it was back in the Toy Story days, but when you have a movie that is mainly humans, I think that it's something just sort of does not look right. And it's maybe a little bit better in sort of the Disney princess type pictures because they have a classical sort of look to them that they're emulating. But here, it's sort of big features and whatever. I think, yes, they look a lot better, but there's a reason I feel like a lot of the Pixar movies are about non-human people, Wall-E and all the Toy Stories, obviously, and the Nemo movies and the Monsters University and stuff like that, because people are not quite perfected yet. Inside Out, yeah, there were a few people in it, but the bulk of the characters were her emotions, and they can just sort of look a bit obtuse. So you've got that. But also, this is very, very quick. I think it resolves way too quickly. It has a really powerful emotional ending that I wasn't positive I saw coming. So that did get me in the feels. It got me to cry. But the final sort of not to give too much away here, so I want to talk delicately about it, but basically the conclusion of the struggle of the film is just resolved way, way too quickly. And it makes sense because the film is quick. It's only an hour and like 40 minutes or something, and 16 minutes of that is credits. I stopped the movie when I finished watching, and it still had 16 minutes of credits to go. So the movie itself is only an hour and 25 minutes of story, and I just don't think there was enough time to delve into really the crux of some of the people in this town and why they don't like the sea monsters other than they're afraid of them. We get that information, but it just resolves itself way too quickly. I would have liked to see another struggle or two in there to sort of not even pad it out, but just to give us a little bit more, so we could be more invested in the story and the characters. But other than that, I think the voice work is fine. I think the beats that it hits, though familiar, I do think make their points, and it's all good. But for me, like I'm used to the A standard of a Pixar movie. All the ones I mentioned up top. Wall-E, Up. Up's one of my favorite movies of all time. That's an A plus. A lot of these are in the A plus camp. Soul, I gave an A to. But I think Pixar is definitely getting a little more inconsistent with their output. I didn't love Onward either, and I've been told to give that another shot, and I will do that at some point. Um, but even, like Brave, we mentioned that earlier, that's more of like a B plus kind of movie, which, Pixar is used to a higher standard, I think. So this one is on the lower end. I think it is still effective, but at 85 minutes of story, I think it's too scant. I really do. I would have loved to seen more from it, and more a little bit, with the world. We get on land so quickly, we don't even really get to see anything about Luca's life under the sea. So for all of this, I give Luca a B, which is the same I gave Onward. I think it's definitely appropriate here. Onward, I've agreed to watch again. Also, my buddy Tim pointed out when I did my Raya and the Last Dragon video, my B plus might have been too low, and I actually, looking back, I do actually kind of agree with that now, because I think B is a very appropriate grade for Luca, but I do think it's Raya and the Last Dragon is better than just one shade above Luca. So in retrospect, I guess I give that one an A minus. But I stand by my Luca grade. It's a B for me. Watch it for free on Disney Plus and decide for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here next time. Bye.